Hey, welcome to Michigan's Insurance Source. Today, our lovely sponsor, Michigan Insurance Source. Today we're going to be dealing with insuring your investment property. Sponsored by Michigan Insurance Source, presented by me, the Insurance Hound, otherwise known as Bryant Keith. This is part 1 of 3. It's really boring. It's insurance. We can put people to sleep. I don't want people falling asleep in front of their computer because I went on for like 8 hours. So I'm going to break this up into like 3 parts. And no, it's not going to be all 8 hours in 3 parts. So I was listening to the radio one day, and I was listening to, because I deal with a lot of property investors. And the show that I was listening to, they said real estate is the ideal investment. And this is the way the guy broke it down. Income. Property brings you in income, gives you deductions. It allows you to build up equity. So in other words, hey, if the money's there, it's building up equity. There's funds there. As long as the property keeps its value, it's got equity in it, and that's a good thing. And with equity, you got appreciation. So except for what happened about 10 years ago when the market took the dump, the stock market went down the tubes, and homes that were selling for $400,000 were now selling for $40,000. Most of the time, the property appreciates. It goes up in value. And as an investor in property, if you're doing the right thing, that's a good thing. And once again, you build up all that property and you leverage it. Why do you leverage it? You leverage it to buy more property, to build up more income, more deductions, more equity, more appreciation, and once again, to build more leverage. But you see, here's the thing. We're going to eliminate the income part. Because that's right. Real estate investing will always bring you in income if done properly. But unlike investing in the stock market, okay, there's something you can do with this that not a lot of people talk about. And that is it's an insurable ideal investment. Think about it. You invest in the stock market, okay, say company XYZ, I don't know, Apple, Microsoft, and they do something and it blows up. The company burns down. It's gone. It's no longer there. And guess what? So's your money. See ya. Bye-bye. Now you got other insurable things. They're called annuities. Or, if you go to the bank, it's insurable. So if the bank, blows up, the federal government comes in and backs that annuity up, or that CD up to like $250,000 or something along those lines. But there's some insurable, minor. But if you're really getting into investments, what can you buy for insurance? And they sit there and go, well, Brian, are you telling me if the market took a dump like it did 10 years ago, you're going to give me my money back? I can buy an insurance policy that'll do that? No. What I am telling you is if a natural disaster hits, storm hits, not flooding, but you can insure against that. Your tenant burns down your property, tree falls on the house and destroys it. Your cash that's into that property can come out. It can be insured against. There's some assets there. And it's always a good investment. But you got to buy the right insurance policy. So, how do you get that policy? How do you do it? Well, first of all, you got to get the right quote. And let's face it, not all quotes are created equal. Not all insurance agents are created equal. So don't expect quotes to be created equal. So what do? You pick up the phone, you call. Hi, I'd like a quote on my rental homes. Yes, that's right, my investment property. And you get the nice insurance guy on the other side of the phone. Oh, sure, I'll be happy to help you. How can I help you? Oh, I'd like a quote for my rental homes. I got a bunch of rental homes. I want a quote for them. Oh, sure, I'd be, once again, happy to help you. But we don't do that. Because you see, all insurance agents, although some people think we're scum-sucking, like here's whale dung and we're down here. And, only people below us might be, I don't know, used car salesmen. So people want to group us all together, but that's not true. Not all insurance companies are created equal. Not all insurance agents are created equal. Not all insurance agencies are created equal. There's good ones, there's bad ones. But there might be a good one, but since they're not the fit for you, they could be the bad one because something didn't get paid. So you got to do your due diligence to find the right insurance agent or the insurance agency and the policies that fit your needs. So there's a little work into this, but owning any business and being a investor in property and being an investor where you're getting in rental income, you got to run it like a business, just like anything else. So the first thing you need to do, you need to get a checklist. That's right, little things. You got to go sit there and go, okay, I got to get my quote. Got to get my checklist together. Got to make sure everything that I can give to that agent is up front, right there, gives him everything he needs, and then that way he gives me an honest quote. See, there's two things that happen. One, as an insurance agent, I might not get all the proper information, so I ask the right questions. If I don't get the proper information or I get close, but not quite, then I can't pick out the right plan. If I don't pick out the right plan, then when a claim happens, then, the client gets mad at me. And I just sit there and go, but you didn't tell me you had a pool. Well, you didn't tell me the thing was still fuses instead of circuit breakers. So these are things that you got to get that checklist. You got to get it ready. And you got to make sure we have all our information. Okay? So when you give it to us, then we can do our job right. And then there's the other thing. It's the agents that feel, well, they're not going to know their plan, so this is what I'm going to sell them. And truthfully, they're the ones that are below well done. In fact, they're even below used car salesmen. Those guys are only looking out for a buck, but that's not a good agent. That's not a good independent agent. Okay? So some of the basic things, basic address, city, state, where the property is located. That's pretty simple. That's pretty straightforward. Then you got to know the property type. You got a single family home. Well, do you own multiple homes? Do you own one home? Do you, did you get your house from when your parents passed away in a, the will? I mean, is it a single family home? Is it a multiple family home? Is it a duplex or a quadplex? Is it 4 units or less? But there's more units in the one building. A duplex, you own the one here, but you might not own the one next to you. Well, how is that going to be insured? So that's something we got to ask about, Now, most of the things that we're going to be talking about today are going to be owning multiple single-family homes up to 4 units in one piece of property. Okay, so in other words, like a small apartment complex or duplex, okay, or a flat. Those are things that we're looking to really insure and what we're going to be talking about a lot of today. All right? And if it goes above 4, well, then you're getting into apartments. Then you're getting into the big things. And those things that's a different story. That, different carriers, a lot more questions to be asked. So this basic checklist that we're going over, it's really targeted more towards multiple family homes, like fourplexes, and single family homes. Not so much the big apartment complexes. If you want to talk to us about that, we're going to have another video later down the road about how to insure apartment complexes. But right now, this is just the basic stuff. You'll be able to pick a lot of good things out of these videos. But remember, a lot of stuff is targeted towards these two. Just being upfront, just being honest. So, now that you know the type, here's the other question. Year built. 1930, 1960, 1980. Yes, the years of pastels and big hair. It's amazing. We didn't have more homes burned down back in the 80s with the amount of Aquanet that was in women's hair. But this makes a big difference. Insurance companies want to know what year it was built because every year different materials were used, different things. So is it a circuit breaker box? Is it a fuses? What type of wiring is in there? What type of plumbing is in there? Some insurance companies, they don't want to insure anything that's over a certain age unless major renovations were taken care of. Because it's an insurable risk. Because electrical in the wall, how do we know that's not going to catch a fire? What type of insulation was in those walls? Is there asbestos? There's a lot of things that they don't want to have the risk of. So you got to know the age of your property. Okay? Know the square feet. 1,000 square foot, 1,500 square foot. Square footage makes a big difference in the property. And the biggest thing that the square footage calculates is the value of the property, how much it's worth. Now, there's 2 ways to insure a piece of property, and when you're looking at value, you're going to look at a couple things. First one's called ACV. That stands for actual cash value. In other words, you bought the house for $35,000, you got it on the cheap, but the houses in the area are selling for $45,000. That's the actual cash value of the property. But you see, here's the thing. You got to know your RCV, replacement cash value. So ACV is, hey, how much the house is selling for. And in today's day and age, especially what happened 10 years ago, okay, when the housing market took a crap, homes that were valued at a heck of a lot more had a very high replacement cost. Okay, because, hey, they had this, they had that, they had all these things. They built these elaborate homes because, you know, it only cost them a couple $100,000 to build. But the home was valued at $600,000 or $1 million. So replacement cost is not that big of a deal. But in today's day and age, the market took a dump. So replacement cost still might be $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 to replace. But that home might only be selling for $40,000 or $50,000. And in such, when you're running that quote, you got to understand, do you want replacement cost or do you want actual cash value? That makes a big difference. So then a few more things, because, you know, we like blocking things off at 4s. That way you can take your notes. And this little grouping is the contents, the insides. Everything that's connected to the home, that's under ACV, or that's under replacement value, okay? So what's inside the home that's connected to the walls, connected to these things? That'll fall underneath the ACV or RCV. But things like refrigerators, washers and dryers, and stoves, things that are not attached but have value. So are you renting the house out fully furnished? Are you renting the house with washer and dryers, or do they got to bring their own? You know, do they need to bring a refrigerator? Do they need to bring a stove? How are you renting that house out? Well, if you're renting that stuff besides the house itself, well, you want to put under contents. You want to insure that stuff. So you got to have a list of that contents. Put a value to it, okay? Now, one of the other things that you got to understand and you got to be careful of when you're talking to us is, hey, year of the updates, and that could be your roof. Roof's a big one. You know, they'll come out, they'll look at your property, and they'll go, is that a hole? Look at those shingles. They're lifting up. Well, here's the thing. When was the roof replaced? Because if your roof hasn't been replaced in a lot of years, they're not going to insure you. That falls underneath maintenance. We'll get into that, how to read it, in the next video. Electrical. Well, I talked about it earlier. Circuit breaker, fuse. You know, what type of electrical do you have in the house? How about the furnace? How about the air conditioning? Is there an air conditioning unit? When was all that updated? Big thing, boilers. See, in Detroit, you got a lot of homes that still have baseboard heat or the old boilers, right? When was the boiler last updated? When was it last maintained? Those are all perils and risks that an insurance company is going to ask questions on. You know, because why? They don't want to insure something that is a ticking time bomb. It's not fair to them and it's not fair to you, because what will end up happening if you don't tell the truth, you don't give these updates, we're going to guesstimate, we put it in, something happens, the insurance company comes back and says, sorry, we're not going to pay that claim. Now, as an agent, I look bad, my agency looks bad, and then you're upset. That's not right. But if you give us the right information, we're able to insure you properly. Now, here's a big one. This one's huge. Pools. You go, pools? What's the big deal? It's a pool. You go out, you swim, you do the backstroke. You know, you get that tenant that's fairly large that thinks that they can float on a little raft and get a lot of sun and, you know, skin cancer later. No, you don't want that. Pools are a big risk. Pools are a very large liability. Now, if you own a rental property next to a lake, you can't eliminate the lake. But you know what? You can eliminate a pool. And you shouldn't have them. Because of the fact that not every insurance company wants to insure a rental property with a pool. Because liability, your risk of being sued because that pool isn't properly maintained or properly closed off or somebody drowns. Remember, you own that property. So if somebody drowns in that pool, even though it was your renter that allowed that person in that pool, you could still be sued. It's your property. Were you maintaining that pool? What aspects are there? Insurance companies don't want that risk. Get rid of pools. Now, you go, Brian, I live in a lake. That's something that people swim in. How do I got a beach. Well, that's a vacation rental property. That's different. You're going to get something for the vacation property. You're going to buy a different piece of rental insurance. I'm just talking about investment homes that are not vacation homes. I'm talking about properties like in cities like Detroit, up here in Macomb County, inner cities, outer cities, and I don't care. Pools are bad. And one of the few things you do also need to know is, well, who's your mortgage lender? Do you own the bank money on that home? So we got to make sure they're put onto the insurance policy. Some people get hard money loans. Some people get soft money loans. There's people out there that are needing to find other ways to invest. So they might have an investor. Well, is that investor owning the property, or is that investor mortgaging you or giving you money to put a mortgage on that house? Well, we need to know that because they're an additional insured. We need to make sure that they're insured. So when a check gets cut, they get their money back. It's the proper way of doing it. If you don't inform us, well, you could be getting yourself in a little bit of hot water. All right. Now, you got all your information, and you're going to send it to your agent and or agents. Agent or agents. Well, I got one agent. He does my home. Why can't I send it to him? Remember, not all agents are created equal. We're not all the same. Some like investment property, some don't. Some like big buildings, some don't. Some like cities and townships, and some don't. So, what do you need to do? You need to do your shopping. Shop around. Go to multiple agents and see, here's the thing. You got that checklist. It's in front of you. It's right there. You're giving that same information to all the agents. So they're all created equal. It just depends on the quotes they bring back to you. Those may not be created equal. Okay? So, put that checklist together. Do your shopping. Simple thing to do. So, now you're out there. Now you found your agent that thinks you're a good fit, or agencies, right? What should you do next? Simple. Relax. Give them some time. Certain things, 1 or 2 pieces of property, we can do quotes fairly quickly, maybe a day. Got to give them a day, 24 hours. Weekend, 48, 72. But if you got multiple homes, 5 or more, we might want to look for a master policy. In a master policy, we need to do more shopping. You might be in an inner city, like the city of Detroit. They're just south of us. I insure a lot of properties in Detroit. The thing of it is, that requires a different type of policy because not a lot of people want to insure Detroit because of its past. Great city, making a great comeback. Please buy investment properties in Detroit. I recommend them because they're a good, right now they're a good buy. Detroit's a great buy, okay? Because I see it making a comeback. But not everybody wants to insure Detroit. So we got to do our shopping. We got to make sure certain things are met. So understanding that, you need to relax. You need to give us some time. We'll get back to you. Now, if the guy's taking 2, 3, 4 weeks, guess what? He's not the agent for you. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. See you later. So, okay, now you have your quotes. You've done your shopping. You did the right thing. How do you read them? Well, this is where you go, oh, crap. To be continued. Why? Because we're going to get into more details. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to get into, certain things, certain this, certain that, and it gets a little boring. So I'm trying not to, make you fall asleep behind your computer screen going, God, this guy sucks. So come back, check out part 2. But in the meantime, if you sit there and you go, hey, I want that checklist that Brian's talking about. What the hell? He wants me to write it down? I know. He's probably got it on Excel or Word or something he can send to me. You cheap bastard, why don't you be nice and send something to me? I can do that for you. Email me at mishsource@gmail.com. That's MICHSOURCE @gmail.com. Subject, checklist. Under the subject line, put checklist. So that's michsource@gmail.com. Put the checklist. I'm not going to sell your information. I'm not going to sit there and go, look, bombard them with crap mail. Here we go. Look, look, look. Hey, come on. You want that pill that keeps you going for hours and hours and hours. No. I'll send you the checklist. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to sell your information. I'm not doing that. That's not what we do here. Okay? But if you do like what we just talked about and the other videos that are coming down the pipeline, do us a favor. Share this. Share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on LinkedIn. And if you want to see more of the videos that we got coming down the pipeline, then look us up. Follow us at Michigan Insurance Source. Of course, like I said, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, and we're on LinkedIn. Because, those are all the things that you can share with other business owners just like yourself. And you sit there and go, business owners? I'm just an investor. No, you're a business owner. Rental properties are business owners. And so some of the things we're going to be talking about in the next couple videos is exactly that, running this like a video. Or running this like a business, sorry, not video. Mine's a little fried. I'm running at 1,000,000 miles an hour right here. So, once again, thanks to our sponsors, Michigan Insurance Source. Great agency. I know I've been working them for 4 years. And, we like investors. Give us a call. 586-846-3133. Say, hey, look over my properties. We'll be happy to. Now, currently, we do business in Michigan, but we are expanding into other states soon. So please, give us a try. Maybe we're a fit. Maybe we're not. But thanks. Look forward to seeing you in our next video.